G'day everyone, welcome back to Aussie Starcraft. This is your caster CM speaking. Game number 3 of Jaedong versus Polt from WCS America Season 2. This is the finals, $20,000 on the line. We've had some fantastic games so far. And I feel if you haven't seen them yet, go and check them out, because I am going to spoil what's happened in this video. So far we've seen Polt manage to upset the Tyrant 2-0. Take a commanding lead in this series and be well on his way to sealing out this series set of finals. If he manages to take this game, he will be 3-0 going into what may be the fourth and final game. Jaedong really needs to change something up, as he's proven 2 games straight that he just doesn't have an answer for that mid-game aggression, the very heavy Biomine Marine Marauder push into his third base. I'm going to tell you, it's not looking good for him. Map number 3 is in fact Neoplanet S. Very interesting map, but what's most interesting about it is third bases are down here and up here, which is a substantial distance from the natural. So the pressure that we've seen from Polt in previous games is going to factor in again in game number 3. I just don't feel like Polt needs to change anything at this point. If he keeps the same aggression up that he's had, he will be able to continue to experience the success that he's been having against Jaedong. I feel like the responsibility is on Jaedong at this point to adapt to Polt's pressure and mix it up either with an earlier timing attack or mixing up his late game unit composition. Trying to defend his third base a little more heavily and trying to perhaps get out his infestors a bit quicker, or go for something a little bit more durable, maybe a Roach Hydra Ultralisk, or he did quite well with the Ultralisk Infestor Zergling last game. Was able to pick up and clean up quite a lot of those early Marine Marauder pushes, but I feel like Polt's defense has just been fantastic. Jaedong really unable to capitalize on a lot of opportunities to counterattack. It just couldn't, because of the constant pressure, couldn't get those opportunities, couldn't make the most, and couldn't damage Polt's infrastructure. So he's left there macroing, trying to macro to replace his army, keep this tide of Terran away. And unfortunately, with an almost limitless production, Polt was able to pour on just masses of bio in waves until it eventually broke the Zergs back. Early Reaper up here, just doing some scouting, trying to pick off this drone. You can see Jaedong microing that around. Will Polt get it, or will this Reaper meet a grisly end at the hand of some Zerglings? Apparently it's a good day to be a drone if Jaedong is controlling. No early drone loss or anything. Even keeping a Zergling alive. Nice little touches like that remind us that Jaedong is in fact one of the best Zerg players in the world, and one of the consistent best Zerg players in the world. Often Zerg will get accused of being a patch Zerg player, but such a thing could never be said about Jaedong. Just consistently good results from Brood War through to current. An exciting player. As predicted, Polt is going a little bit slower to build his command center this round. Already got his factory in play, mines on the way, Hellions on the way, sorry. Do some scouting, maybe deny some creep. But, like I said, Polt changing very little, likely because he has very little that he needs to change. Not seeing the Roach Warren out of Jaedong yet this game. Wondering if he will in fact go back to that, go back to the Baneling, the Zergling Baneling neuter play that we saw earlier in game 1, or whether he will mix it up a little bit. Drone number 3 hiding up here for the hatchery. Trying to avoid all the sneaky Reapers and Jaedong is coming to expect from Polt. These guys will regenerate health out of combat. Apparently in Starcraft, drugs are good. In fact, drugs are very bad, but the Reapers can use those to regenerate health. Don't try it, kids. up here, checking, will they see the drone? No, he did not see the drone. Focused heavily on microing these units.
Let's have a blast.
See the Viking, not present in Game 2, but in Game 3, you see it, oh, yet again, yeah, the Viking on Overlord cleanup patrol. You see he is already waypointed down to here. He's obviously very familiar with Zerg players, very familiar with how and where they position their overlords to scout. Normally these two overlords are used to scout around the 6 to 8 minute mark, get the intel that Jaedong needs to prepare for late game, but this Viking timing is just so good out of Polt, able to clean these up and really deny any vision that Jaedong has on this side of the map. If you look around,
The hive cluster is under attack.
more pressure at the front. If we ignore that for just a minute, if you look through the base, he has a very little idea of what is coming and where it's coming from. Only has idea of one barracks and a command center on the low ground. Very low amount of intel for this level of play. Hard to adapt, hard to try and counter what's coming. Doesn't know whether he should expect more barracks or whether he, could be facing up against Banshee. Take any sort of transition would be able to take him by surprise. You've got very little intel on what's going on. Able to pick up a third overlord there. Polt able to pick up a third overlord with that Viking, and just absolutely cut off any intel Jaedong might have on this map. Marauders moving off, using those rocket launchers, make a nice red mist out of those. Put pressure back on this third base, starting early, before even the 10-minute mark. Polt just relentless with these Marauders, but if he doesn't unload, that is going to get picked off. Yep, he's forced to drop the Marauders, the medevac goes down in flames. There's Zerglings by the Marauders, of course getting cleaned up. Seeing the units lost tab, that for once, Polt is down on the units. Jaedong managing to trade very efficiently Zerglings and Mutas against those Marauders and medevacs, sorry, and able to get some good cost efficiency, which is nice to see. If he can keep that up, he'll be well on his way to making a comeback in this game. Nice size Muta crowd going, able to pluck away at these. Ooh, Widowmine does come up. Mulus with Jaedong now with the Overseer shot. Oh, more Zerglings. Ouch. That Widowmine on 7 kills there. This Widowmine on the high ground picking up as one as well. If we look in the units tab, you see 9 Mutalisks on the field. Production tab, we can see Jaedong throwing another 4. He is intending to use quite heavy Muta play here. Pick up these Widowmines. Almost picks up that Widowmine before it's off recharge. That would have been a nice pickup for him. Hovering these Mutas, trying to put the pressure on. If he could nip into the base and do some damage to the production of Polt, he might be able to change the pace of this series. Burrow on the way is an interesting adaptation. We haven't seen any Burrow play out of Jaedong yet. Maybe Burrow Baneling landmines is the plan there. No roaches or anything on the field at present. So burrowed Banelings perhaps. Polt here trying to wall off the ramp. Jaedong is going to pick up these SCVs and perhaps cancel the supply depots. Up to 5 workers killed already. It's a real shame not to see him getting more worker kills with these Mutalisks. Polt not willing to risk it, is going straight out and dropping missile turrets there and the Widowmines throughout the midfield here. Just quite impeccable defense from Polt. All his eggs not in one basket, leaving some static defense. It's the kind of play we've come to expect. Jaedong gearing up in this lower section here, perhaps for a Baneling bust on these supply depots, hoping to roll in and take this bottom base by surprise. Burrowed landmines, Baneling landmines here. It's nice to be right about that. I feel like I've guessed wrong a few times with these players. I'm after all not a Grandmaster level Starcraft player. I do love to watch and do love to cast Starcraft. Neoplanet S is really interesting. It forces players to take one of 4 travel paths, these 2 internal ones, which are joined with this high yield, double high yield expansion, or these 2 external outside paths, which Jaedong's starting to utilise to put pressure on his fourth base. It's willing to take a bit of damage just to get the damage on those workers that he has there. So up to 16 kills, we're able to finally see Jaedong punch a bit of a hole in the income of Polt. Now that he's got those force out of position, he does duck in here, looking to sneak into the lane. Bang, supply depot's down. There's so much damage if he can get this into the mineral line. Oh, Polt's not watching. Oh! Just a fantastic game. That couldn't have gone better for Jaedong. Up to 34 workers killed, starting to really make a comeback in this series. Just excellent play from Jaedong. That is the damage he needs. You can see Polt starting to power SCVs again to try and recover, but that is going to have kicked a substantial hole in his income tab. Down to 42 workers compared to 80 of Jaedong, so he's almost half the harvesters that Jaedong has on the field. One potential problem is having used those bangers, there's very little in the way left from this ball. He doesn't need landmines, if he can get those big detonations. Oh, big detonations on those bangers there, cleaning up almost all the Marines. That was just what he needed to stay. One of the problems with heavy mutilist play, these banging hits could not be going better for Jaedong than they are at present. Units lost equal, slowed up one base, exactly where Jaedong wants to be. Trading efficiently with a base advantage is the position Zerg really needs to be in to be comfortable. What I was trying to say before is heavy mutaplay does leave you susceptible to counter pushes. You often don't have as many units at home to defend as you would like, and this bio pressure can really be difficult to defend whilst you are pushing into their bases to do that damage with the force. So let's see if Jaedong can muster a defense here. More burrows are able to take out more cream. Polt just not getting the detection he needs up on the field. I wonder, there's still no Ravens or anything out of Polt, but he's going to continue full susceptible to those burrowed banging landmines. I get the feeling that Jaedong is just saying, I am fed up with your Widow Mine play, have some Zerg Widow Mines in the form of bangers. Oh, I think Polt saw those two go down. I'm very surprised he was out on top of those. Oh, using bring up those bangers when they explode on the Widow Mine. They will still do their splash and take out the Widow Mines. Back and forth here, burrowed landmines still inside of that Widow Mine, so Polt be pretty aware that those are in fact there. Jaedong taking base number 5 down to the bottom. A bit of a risky spot in my humble opinion. It's so close to this Bioforce. Polt very easily put pressure on that base. Jaedong consistently picking up these Widow Mines. Trades away Polt. There's a big check out the upgrades for the circle bar. Jaedong paused on 2-2 for the time being. Trying to macro hard. He is at 171 supply to 127 of Polt. And I've got a good feeling that the Tyrant may finally be making some headway against this playstyle. His banelings have just been his absolute salvation. Polt left in a very difficult position. Does he try and swap his starport to a tech lab and knock out a Raven to prevent this play? Raven which could be picked off very slow, easily picked off by the Mulus, or does he waste scans, which he really can't afford given how many workers he lost early in the game. These Zerglings back in the line, just getting great counter-attacks, which is what Neoplanet S is for. So many movement paths, easy to sneak units around. We have more up here waiting from Jaedong. waiting to move out and get some more damage. Good splits from Polt, a nice concave there, able to stop the Zerg from taking the rest of the hill. Usually doesn't take gun down these queens until his third base exposed, or fourth base actually, the Jaedong exposed. In this case, going in, is going to be really in trouble. Start stepping those marines, take out as many drones as possible, and Polt knows it's time to move back. He pulls back to the safety of his widow. Really press out, and indeed we see he's spotted the base up here, and that's what I was trying to say. We're very susceptible to these easy sweep down fire is great mobile. He doesn't punch as hard as a siege right, but able to swing down and take out bases like this made this very, very risky. Well, they could easily clean up that base and hold out against the counterattacks. This Widow Mine here, up to 7 kills, picking off those packs of Zerglings and Banelings that are rolling. Polt will have a need to take another base. Jaedong may be down to 3 bases, but his third base is still full of minerals, whereas Polt down to about 600 a patch at best, with 3 of these patches almost mined out. Jaedong can hold out and get a 4th base back up. He will be able to restabilise, but we've got him down on supply, 115 to 134, and it's just the point where Polt can feel Jaedong against the road, just won't stop the pressure. He'll not do that much damage against 3 boosts. Medevacs going up. Jaedong goes down in game number 3. I don't know about you, but I felt like Jaedong really had changed things up there. Much heavier Baneling use, but not so much a difference in the unit of choice, more a difference in how he executed them, using the landmines, getting the flanks, rolling into those reinforcements. He had a beautiful stretch of gameplay around the 15-16 minute mark where he's just able to stop that Terran push from making it to his 3rd and 4th bases. Unfortunately, just Polt on top of his game, able to sense when the opportunity came, and it was that swing through into the 4th base, killing this, and then swinging down to the 5th base that just put the pressure right back on Jaedong. Only 3 hatcheries with 1 macro hatch, to 4 hatcheries total to produce enough units to hold that push back, and we can see the results that it had. Polt able to take a 3-0 commanding lead in this series. Will Jaedong be able to wrest some momentum back in game 4? He almost had it here. Will he do it in game 4? I don't know. I'd love to see a comeback, but whether a comeback's possible against Polt and just the form that he's in, your guess is as good as mine. So guys, tune in for game number 4 following this right after. This is Aussie Starcraft signing out.